Welcome to the First Estate Agency Mastery podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Gates. Simon, I think everyone knows who you are. I said on stage the other day that I think you're the man that has the most amount of knowledge in our industry, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you as the first guest.
I'm honoured as well to be the first guest. Didn't know that, so thank you very much.
Right, so we're going to get going straight away. 10 questions. We've only got 15 minutes. The whole point of this podcast is someone can listen to it, take in valuable content and go and implement it in their agency kind of straight away. So we're going to start off question one. What's your biggest estate agency failure?
I'd say caring too much.
Okay. Give me an example of where you've cared too much and it's backfired.
Let's say, I think a typical one would be you get 100 5-star Google reviews, and then the 101st one is a 3-star review, and it ruins your day, week, month, quarter, year. I love the John McGrath saying of care, but don't care too much.
I really like that. Okay. So if you're going to go back then to your 18-year-old self, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Stand on the shoulders of giants a lot sooner. So go and find who's got to where I want to get to, buy them a coffee, buy them lunch, buy them a beer, understand how they're succeeding. And I mean, not just in the business, but outside of that business as well. And be more collaborative is what I'd say to my 18-year-old self.
Have you done that with someone recently?
A few people, yeah.
Good man. Fine. So I said at the start, right, I want gold. So what free resource can you give our listeners, viewers today?
Follow me.
Oh, I like it.
But no, jokes aside, I think free resources, follow me. Everyone go look at Linktree if they don't already have it. So you can set up a free Linktree account. Very quick answer to what that does. Essentially multiple URLs under one URL. So think social media accounts, WhatsApp, property video tours, someone leaving you a review, stuff like that. That works very well for me. And then just to give one more resource, because I know we're doing this quickly, property investigation tools. So Google Chrome extension that gives you status and price change history to any listing on Rightmove and Zoopla.
Fine. So I'll make sure those go into the show notes. Thank you for that. Guys, if you're listening, what Simon's just said is gold and it works an absolute treat. So do not miss out on that. Okay. Morning routine.
Yeah, something I need to improve on. I'd have to say, if I could take my routine back to half a dozen years ago, it was pretty damn good. Lots of sunlight in the morning, taking dogs for a walk, going to the gym and stuff like that. I'm definitely not in that habit at the moment. I do have to say that. But what does it look like in 2023 when we're recording this? Really, probably I'd say actually catching up on industry news in the morning before I start the working day, so I know what's going on in the industry, and then I can have relevant conversations. So of course in my role that's perhaps speaking to estate agents day to day, but for the estate agents out there listening to this, it's knowing what's gone on with interest rates, property prices, house price index, stuff like that, so that when they're going out on appraisals that day or having conversations with buyers and sellers, they can be speaking very kind of up to date of what's going on. So yeah, checking the industry news is a minimum for me before I start my day.
Okay, cool. What do you think estate agency will look like in 5 years' time from a tech point of view?
Not much different to where we are now.
Interesting. Why don't you think we'll be too much change in the next 5 years?
I think we're very slow to adopt in this industry compared to others. You think how much the industry seemed to have transformed in the COVID period, like doing stuff over Zoom or Google Meet like we are now. But I think the pandemic made that happen, whereas actually there's a lot of other industries that have been doing that long before. So I think we are kind of afraid of tech in this industry because it's such a people business. So I don't think it will look too different to where we are now.
Okay, cool. We are halfway through. What's the most important lesson you've learned in your career?
Always look 3 months ahead.
Why?
Well, at the time I got that advice, I didn't understand it. I think I was just starting as a branch manager, and I said to someone very experienced, said, "What's the one piece of advice you can give me?" They said, "Always look 3 months ahead." Why is what you do now will have a material impact on your business in 90 days time. So if your pipeline's low or you're not prospecting now, you won't see an issue tomorrow, but you certainly will in 90 days time. So always look at, right, what my listing is going to be in 90 days time, for example.
I really like that. I think T180 is a term I've heard there. Time.
Yeah.
Heard there, right? So time, 180 days. Cool. Okay. So talking of kind of the next 90 days, give me a productivity hack that you've seen estate agent letting agents use successfully.
Productivity hack. First of all, I'd say go buy Atomic Habits by James Clear and read that book and subscribe to his weekly email. And the reason I say James Clear, it's Atomic Habits and habit stacking. So a lot of agents I speak to say don't have time to prospect, for example. To give you one quick productivity hack and habit stacking. If you have just agreed a sale, what do you typically do? Congratulate the buyer, seller, order the board to be changed from for sale to sold, market sold on the portals, You're already doing those habits. Add one more to the habit stack. So stick the kettle on to make that congratulatory cup of tea. Then go and send some direct mail out to other people in that street, letting them know you've just sold that property. So habit stacking for me.
Okay, nice. You've kind of answered the next question, which is what book would you recommend and why? So I'm going to let you have another.
I wasn't actually going to recommend that book. I was actually going to say Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, actually.
Nice. I've heard you talk about both of these on your podcast, so we'll put links in the show notes and away we go. Why Never Split the Difference in kind of one or two sentences?
I think it's the best book I've possibly ever read on everyday life of how to negotiate, whether that's in a restaurant trying to get a table, or negotiating with your other half, let's say, or negotiating your fees. So it can just be used in business and personal life, and it just makes so much sense. Just an added bonus on the Never Split a Difference. There's another Chris Voss book that I read late last year called The Full Fee Agent, and that's just Never Split a Difference chapter 2, basically, for estate agents.
Nice. I like that. So who is the best agent in the world to follow on social media?
I don't know if I can get away with saying this because he's technically not an agent, but he does auctioneering, I guess, in Australia. But anyone listening to this needs to follow Tom Panos, just for his knowledge, experience, passion as well is insane. So yeah, I'd say follow Tom Panos. But to go left field, I'm actually going to say someone who's perhaps not massively well known across the industry, but James Scudder from Country Living Group in Pembrokeshire, Wales. Some of the stuff he does on socials, direct mail, is insane. So yeah, I'd recommend people go check him out.
Nice, thank you. Again, we'll put them in the show notes. What's one thing I haven't asked you that I should have done?
Seeing as we're on a podcast, probably recommend one podcast.
Go for it.
$1 Million Agents to Tom Panos again.
Okay, nice.
There's hundreds of episodes for people to go and binge on that if they've never listened to it.
Fine, that's my question 12. So what other question should I have asked you that I haven't?
What other question should you have asked me? God, okay. I've messed that up a little bit, Chris, in terms of the other question you were going to ask. So I apologise for that.
Do not.
So what's one other question you should have asked me? You've got me there a little bit, I have to say.
Don't worry, we'll come back to it if we have time. Where can we find you online?
So I'd say most prominent place to find me would be LinkedIn. So it's nice and easy, just Simon Gates. You'll find me on Facebook as well. But yeah, LinkedIn is the easy place to find me, and all my contact details are on there as well, mobile number, etc.
Simon, thank you so much. We've done this quickly. We've done it to the point. I'm going to ask the question that I should have asked but didn't ask for you, that threw you off, which is, your podcast is brilliant. It's gold. In fact, you've inspired me to come and do this. So thank you very much. I would like to be a guest presenter on your podcast so I can ask you all the questions that maybe we've discussed today, but in far more detail, if you would be so good enough to have me. Is that something we can do?
100%. Of course we can.
Perfect. I appreciate that, Simon. Thank you so much for being our first guest. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers.